be helped. Lots going on behind the scenes, lots of intel coming in, lots of information from other podcasters coming in. So, a lot to share with you today on this 1990. Oh, I think it's 96. 1000. We're very close. 1996 days. Uh, absolutely. Um, since Richard was forcibly removed from the barracks room because he was a whistleblower, because he knew the connections between the posts, the military, and the Walmart mass shooting, because of the criminal trafficking, because of the worst type of crimes against children, because of the pipeline. Richard wanted to be CID. He wasn't just the average, whistleblower. He was very observant. He filed. He stood tall. So and they came after him. I can't even tell you how hard they came after him. They came after him so, I can tell you this, Richard, he just didn't cry. He just didn't cry. He was not a, it's just a, uh, really had a good temperament, right? Um, and remember Glenn and Oakley Jr., they come after you. They come after you so hard. Everywhere you see that with President Trump, right? They come after you with everything, everything. And and after all of that, Richard is stellar. Stellar. You know, it's going to drive them it's going to drive them to hell. These people that are so evil. Because it drives them so crazy that Richard was not compromised. They tried everything, and he was not compromised. And because remember, they bring in underage girls, they bring in the drugs, they bring in the weapons, they bring in everything in the barracks. Underage girl in the barracks, living in the barracks for 4 months, a stepdaughter of one of the gate guards under DES Thomas Kane, was living in the barracks for over 4 months, being, worst type of crimes, and to compromise. And they film all that. They film it all. And if you ever, want to become a whistleblower, they can pull that out of their pocket. Richard was not compromised. And he also was so observant, um and he knew from his training how to make these whistleblower complaints. And so he, um, he's a hero. He's a hero. He's a hero because he stood up to these monsters that want to do the worst type of crimes against children, that are just absolutely larceny in the heart. They steal everything. They want to steal everything. They're scammers. They're uh, uh, well, who's the father of lies, right? They're the children of the worst of the worst, and the father of lies. So that's why it was so brutal. He fought in the arms room. I posted up the arms room again. That was absolutely amazing how we got all that information. And DES Thomas Kane again confessed that Major General um, James Eisenhower, Major General James Eisenhower, gave an illegal order to have that crime scene, that arms room, totally renovated with no regards to cost, whatever it cost, without going through protocol to have it done. Just get it done and pay whatever. That was the illegal order. And that is really important for people to understand because that's so criminal. And yeah, very emotional because that's where they took our son's life and stole his body off of Fort Bliss. Of course, they had the Mormon faction DES Thomas Kane in their pocket. He was part of them, and he had total control of all of the guards, the gates, the all of the surveillance videos. And that's why Richard's body was able to be stolen off of Fort Bliss and the cover up. And he was trafficked to Juarez, we believe, because of the early information we were getting that he was dismembered. Now, with La Diabla and all the other evidence that's coming in, we believe that there's a possibility that his organs were harvested and that the remains of him were dumped at the likes of Plenitude Crematorium, where families right now are demanding investigations, demanding identification of the over 400 bodies um, that were there, rat infested. It was so, so bad, y'all. Maggot infested, rat infested, no potable water, no electricity. They were um, recycling these bodies for funds, for humanitarian aid, for unidentified migrants, um, whatever, from NGOs. They are flesh peddlers. That's what they are, flesh peddlers. So, yeah, this is what we've had to endure for all these years, is learning more and more about the absolute evil of these imposters. Okay, they are impersonators, imposters, and so I want to talk about um, Erica Kirk because it is being reported everywhere that they have not just Mitch Snow saying that he identified her on September 8th at the hotel there on Fort Huachuca, which is very important to Fort Bliss. Very important. It's a sister base to Fort Bliss, Fort Huachuca is. And he is like, almost 100%, like 95%. He said, sure, that this was Erica Kirk. And now, with the alibis all falling through, and two other people identifying her there on Fort Huachuca, and then Candace Owens on her podcast and her research team behind her. Thank God for her. Thank God for this this podcast and her family and everything, because they did the research and they found a movie a movie that was filmed on Fort Huachuca years ago, and featuring Erica Franchi before she got married, Erica Kirk, and that shows that, they were like, oh, we don't know anything about this Fort Huachuca. And they knew all along, y'all. They're so invested in Fort Huachuca because, and we've always known this. I've always known this because my husband was 30 years in the military, and then he was also a contractor, right? He did, so when he retired, he tested medical equipment for the military with, he led different tests for it, testing like with a bunch of nurses. Let's test gloves, surgical gloves. Which one do you like the best? And we'll nix these and we'll order these. And his program with his small group saved the military money. Believe it or not, I mean, it was the only one. You can check it. You can check it. Um, it's really amazing. But being being part of that community, we knew that there were contract frauds everywhere in the military. The military, the Pentagon, is what how many years now that they have failed their audits, right? So just with that, with the failed audits, that there's contract fraud, that there's fraud within this military, that we love, that we all love, and there are those that don't love it because they have infiltrated and they have exploited it and they have compromised, um, enough in at Fort Bliss and enough at Fort Huachuca uh, to carry out the worst type of crimes, including election tampering. And you might say, "Oh my gosh, you're wearing the hat," or you're just all for Trump, and that's why you're doing the election tampering. Uh, yeah, I'm wearing the hat because of the evidence that we have uncovered for 5 years. Was I a Trump supporter starting in 2015 when he came down the escalator and said boldly that he was going to build the wall and make Mexico pay for it? And everyone thought that that was a racist statement. And I was, looking at my husband going, oh my gosh, he just revealed to, you know, people that care about finances that we have a huge deficit with Mexico. That's that's what I heard him say. That's what we heard him say, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, he's going to get into so much trouble by revealing that we have a huge deficit with Mexico." Um and yeah, wow. Uh yes, we were very, very supportive of President Trump, but with all that, remember all of the Cobra strikes and all the mask and this and that. Um, the hat came down. The hat came down. And we were on base and we saw what happened during that time. And of course, because of Richard going missing at the time, um, because his body was stolen. Um, and we just said, Satan, get behind me. We went over to Juarez probably 2, 3 dozen times. It's on my phone how many times, so many times. People were crying on me, hugging. I didn't care. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid at all. We go on posts. They were so like talk about uh, insane. They were insane. And I refused to put the stupid thing on my mouth, and they gave me the shield, right? I succumbed to wearing like that plastic shield, um, which came in handy when my live streams got banned after January 6th. But anyway, it was so bad on post. It was so bad on post, that I knew that something was going on, and research and investigations, and they all led to this. It was all about election interference. The taking of our son's life was about election interference. I believe the taking of Charlie Kirk's life is about election interference. He was getting too many supporters to leave the blue side and come over to the red side. I think so. The youth vote. Um, it's about election. These are political maneuvers, and our military, um, because there are compromised military personnel at Fort Bliss, and well, we know the generals, the four-star generals. They're Well, at that time, I don't know right now at this point, I don't know about this new general that's up there, but Mealy and all of those four-star generals, I said it then, I am saying it now for General McConville, General Mealy, General Garrett. They are the worst of the worst. They're absolute traitors. Absolute traitors. They are very compromised. And because they're so compromised, they become very political, because the political part is, who do you get to be the DA? Who do you get to be the attorney general, right? Um, who are you going to get to be the AUSA? Who's going to be the prosecutors in this? And that's what they tampered. They wanted to appoint um, compromised individuals to be uh, or willing to be compromised prosecutors, so that they wouldn't be prosecuted for whatever they were on the take for. And that's why they become very political. And that's why they care about the election so much, because they want to control the Department of Justice. All those appointments. And you see that in El Paso, and if you've been following, you know that James Bonneau Montoya is not even installed properly. Everything he does is botched, because he did not install properly how the Texas Constitution tells you to do it. You can win that vote, but when you win that vote, there's procedures, there's a protocol on how to enter into that office. And one of the things you have to do is, after you win that election or you're appointed, you have to sign an anti-bribe promise. It's called a statement of officer. And what that does is, you promise that you you don't have a quid pro quo, or you're not bribed, you didn't make a bribe to get into that position, that you don't have a conflict of interest, that you can be a good prosecutor, right? You're not coming in tainted. You're not coming in compromised. You have to sign the statement of officer. Well, James Bonneau Montoya, Bill Hicks also. Bill Hicks didn't sign it on time. He did it afterwards. Well, afterwards doesn't count. You have to do things legally in a certain order, to abide by the Texas Constitution before you take the oath of office. It doesn't say, oh, it's your choice. It's your choice. So, and it's really important legally because that can be, like it's not like um I'm at a birthday party and oh, I cut my cake before I blew out my candles or something like that, right? That's not going to be entered into a court of law. But when you are the arbitrator of the law, right? You are the prosecutor. You are, you know, then you have to do things according to the law, or everything that you do that gets submitted to the court is botched. It's botched. It's a technicality. It's a technicality. So I'm not splitting hairs here. I'm not being difficult here. I'm saying it's very easy to sign an anti bribe promise before and submit it before your oath of office. It's pretty simple, it's pretty easy to do. And it's necessary, and you have to do it in that order for everything to be legal, because you are going to be part of a bunch of legal cases because of your position. And so James Montoya, James 2028 stamp Montoya, because he tampered with his documents to try to, cover up for his failure. He is really a botched uh well, he's really not the DA. He's just a botched lawyer. And he's an impersonator. He is impersonating being the 34th Judicial District Attorney right now in El Paso. And so, because no one is screaming about it, because we have filed all of that, it shows that they're compromised. Right? It shows that they're compromised, from the Secretary of State all the way to law enforcement there in El Paso. Because why would you want your prosecutor to be botched and botched let's say you're an investigator, let's say you're police and you do all this hard work to get this criminal arrested. You depend on the prosecutor um, to to carry out the case, right? And now he's botched, and now all of your hard work is now going to go down the drain because of the botched, not even wanting to sign the anti-bribe statement of officer before you take the oath of office, and you're going to botch my case I've been working on for years, right? For years. I mean, this is, when people say why this and why that, it's like, this is why. This is why, because not only is the DA botched, it's the medical examiner that's illegally in the country. He's unqualified for that position. He gets to be unqualified for the position and illegally in this country holding that position, and taxpayers are giving him $500,000 a year. Now that is Minnesota daycare level crap, right? It's Minnesota daycare level crap, because now you can't depend on the autopsies, the cause and manner of death, because you have a compromised medical examiner. So, um, and why am I telling you all of this? Because I can go on about Sylvia Brun de Firth being so compromised, and she sits on the Commission on Judicial Conduct. She's in the El Paso Community Foundation, um, controlling media, and she's she was on the first president, of a Hispanic female president for the state bar, and she's also very connected to Aldiario, and I'm missing. Oh, and she's also the city attorney for Anthony, which is also Vinton. Um, so she is really totally compromised in so many ways, and then it compromises everything else. So when you got a DA and you've got the board member for on the commission, right? So if you want to complain about Judge Guadarrama, well, he's a federal judge, but or Sam Madrano, you've got someone on there that's compromised that will um, uh, cover for these lawbreakers, oath breakers. So, it is clear when you have generals being dirty and DAs being dirty and medical examiners being dirty and the board members being dirty. How are you going to get justice, right? How are you going to get justice? And um, and I'm telling you all this because I want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. Um, and this whole thing with Fort Huachuca. Before I talk about Jeffrey Epstein, I want to talk about Fort Huachuca because um, she was there. She has been there. Her mother has contracts there. And this is being an imposter, being an impersonator, being dishonest, being, like an actor. And I just have to call it out like it is. And because this has been all over Richard's case. Impersonators. Oh, I care so much. I want to be your daughter. I care so much about Richard. Never met Richard. Maybe she did. Maybe he did. But they come up and they want to butter you. They want to be imposters. They want to be impersonators. And really what they are is trying to get like counterintelligence or trying to get information, right? They're trying to get information and they're breaking down uh society with their distrust maneuvers because it makes you not trust people, right? And be a little bit standoffish or whatever because you have to check these people first before you can be friends with them. It's terrible. It really is terrible. So this is uh, this is a level of corruption. I mean, the MPs are the FBI, and the Walmart mass shooting. I'm going to talk about that a lot tomorrow. It is just I can't even tell you how corrupt these FBI um, agents that were assigned to the Walmart mass shooting, how corrupt they are. They are so corrupt. It is just, uh, and I don't know how to emotionally respond, act when you're faced with this kind of corruption that you have to keep a temperament because, you can't get angry. You can't get angry. You can't cry. You can't, you have to keep this even temperament to get justice, right? So, yeah, I'll talk about that tomorrow. But what does that mean with when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein? Well, uh, who knows what happened to him? Some people, um, uh, we know he was arrested. We know he was arrested. We know he owns Zorro Ranch along with a landing strip and a hangar, his own little airport. We know that it was tied to the Odo the Odo beacon. You just kind of dial that Odo beacon and it took you right to his little airport, uh, right there in New Mexico, right there bordering on the call up, um, part of White Sands Missile Range. And if you follow that pipeline to the Caribbeans, you follow it through Mexico, you follow it across, to the gate of the Gulf of America, which is Cuba. From Cuba, Haiti, right next to Haiti, Dominican Republic, and then to Puerto Rico, and then to the little St. James Island of Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I'm wearing this hat. There's so many that are like, why don't you release the little black book, right? Why don't you release the little black book? That little black book is pretty big, y'all. It's pretty big. Um, and it's absolutely connected to our military. There is no doubt in my mind. You cannot be bordering on the northern call up of White Sands Missile Range and the military not know what the hell you're doing. Just doesn't, that doesn't jive, right? And to be using that airspace and the protection. Now, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2019. Okay, in 2019 with El Chapo. Remember, El Chapo was arrested. So President Trump was working very hard to damage this pipeline, this trafficking pipeline. But he was so retaliated against. If you don't believe me, go back in history and really look. And the first thing he did when he won the 2024 election and came in on January 20th of 2025 was the designation of the cartels, not Juarez cartel, but most of all the other cartels as the FTOs. And please look that up. I don't think I'm allowed to say it, but you know what I mean. And that was huge. Because let me tell you, if President Trump was on the side of Jeffrey Epstein, he would have never done that. Never. Never done that. It changed everything legally. So, and then the arrests that he has gotten made through the tariffs. Yeah. I'm yawning a little bit, y'all. It's 1:00. No time to sleep, though. This is so important. This is so important because I put up a map, and let me see if I can bring it up, because I did kind of organize my, there it is. Let's see if I can do this. There it is. Yeah. So here's Fort Bliss. So you can follow these arrows down or up, but up here is Zorro Ranch. So if you follow this down, and across here, you're going to go to Cuba. This is a gateway to the Gulf of America. And then, of course, you have Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and then you have Jeffrey Epstein's little island. And then you can go back and up and through here. And this big fuel thing. See, Venezuela is right here, fuel. And I wanted to show you this. This is Fort Bliss in El Paso. This right here is Fort Huachuca in Arizona. Well, if you look here at the map, here is blue Fort Bliss, El Paso, and here in blue is Fort Huachuca. Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're telling me that a veteran area that is so important as Fort Huachuca and Fort Bliss, that the veterans are 65% GOP, you're telling me that these two areas are going to be for a candidate that wants to leave the border wide open when uh, your drones, you're for law and order, you're for protecting the borders, you're for protecting the borders as military, and you're telling me that they're going to vote for somebody that wants wide open borders, that is an invasion of the United States? Okay, when you're military, like our family, hell no, that doesn't go. They would be bright red, but they're not. They're blue. They're blue. So, you know what that tells us is, we already have a mountain of evidence, but it tells us that that is another piece of corroborating evidence of election interference, election tampering, compromised individuals, which is to me election interference when you're compromising people illegally so that they have to vote a certain way, or, oh no, we don't want someone that's going to want to hold us accountable. We want someone that is sleeping, maybe Sleepy Joe, or creepy, like creepy Kamala. We want that. We don't want law and order. And so, if they're up to something, and I can tell you this, uh, Erica Kirk has given us every indication to say, PU, you're up to something. It is stinky. And now we have 3 people corroborating you were on Fort Huachuca, on the 8th, and your husband lost his life on the 10th. Something is not right. And you wanted to cover that up. You didn't even want to say, oh yeah, I had an appointment. I want to, no, you're just trying to deny knowing Fort Huachuca when you were doing a movie there, a movie on this whole cyber thing too. This one world order thing. Is this what this whole pipeline is about? Is like a one world order or something? Is that what this is all about? With all the fuel theft, that I cannot stress enough, the fuel theft. Um, and of course, there's all the different trafficking that is so deadly. But I just can't stress that enough, because it is really the big fish. The fuel siphoning and theft is the big fish in all of this. It really is. Um, so, and you can see here the maps that this is a 2020 map where Arizona went against President Trump. So did New Mexico. And then here, Arizona, he got it, barely. Um, but New Mexico, but he didn't get this area. He didn't get the Fort Huachuca area, because this is 2024. But New Mexico, he um, he didn't get either. He didn't get either. It's Yeah, because those are important going up to Colorado. There's a lot. There's just a lot here with the whole trafficking pipeline and how, but I want to focus on really going through Mexico because this is where President Trump is focused right now. The whole Colorado, New Mexico, all of the um, in the United States, all the compromise to traffic around the United States. That's coming, right? That's coming like Minnesota, right? So, but this is the part that I really want to focus on because this is what he's been working on since 2025. Very clearly, he says Cuba's about to fall. He's been rescuing uh, Cuban victims being trafficked through here. He rescued uh, Cuban victims from Soraldi, right? Soraldi was um, arrested. And of course, Cesar Duarte, and of course, the raid on Cesar Paneche's mansion that exposed that Cesar Paneche is a co-owner of Carvel Oil, and that they were siphoning oil from Pemex. Um, and he's not just nobody. He was the attorney general for Chihuahua, right? So, uh, that arrest, a La Diabla arrest, where her family is working for Beto O'Rourke. And I have to tell you that the connection with all of that is Cesar Paneche was brought up by Woody Hunt, by Paul Foster and De La Vega Foster, Alejandro De La Vega Foster, recommended to be the attorney general. So that is really a lot of red flags there. A lot of red flags. That's very, very suspicious. And so the investigation is ongoing, but there is some people that are just so mad at um, you know, um, Trump's delay with the whole Epstein. But I think what he's doing um, is far, far more effective. Far more effective. He's getting all of these low hanging fruit, right? And he's getting them to sing because he's going after the big fish. That's what this information is telling us. And that's why I wear the hat, because he's after the big fish, and it's those big fish that took our son's life. And yes, Dallas Hart, the platoon leader, is the prime suspect, but we have to absolutely um, make sure that nothing's botched, right? That nothing is botched. So I don't think President Trump has given up on Jeffrey Epstein. I think it just is on his mind all the time because it's this pipeline between but okay, Jeffrey Epstein is no longer with us, right? He was arrested. He's no longer with us, so far as we know. And what President Trump is doing is focusing on this pipeline, this criminal trafficking, fuel theft pipeline. Um, and he's doing so much good for Mexico right now. I can't even tell you. It's it's really, really amazing. So you'd almost think that he loves Mexico. He must love Mexico, right? All of what they said was wrong. All these narratives are wrong. They're just totally wrong. Um, so what he's doing is really amazing, and the evidence is the one that gave us this map. The evidence is who, the truth is what explained things to us. And, you know, if you have other information, please share it with us. Please share it. But um, that's why we wear the hat. And the international article that came out about Richard, I hope you watch that. Please watch that. Please share it. Please share it. Please share it. Please share it. Um, and it is absolutely listed. Let me see. Um, yeah, there's so much information here. This one right here. Please share this. It's very, very important. Um, yeah, to share this. That's the international story that connects Richard with Judge Roger Rodriguez, because he's Richard's whistleblower, to the Walmart mass shooting. So this was really a jaw dropper. Then, of course, I have the beautiful video of Mitch Snow here talking about Richard. I think that's very important, and I'm very grateful for that. And then I think he's a big hero. Really, it's turning out that Mitch Snow is a big hero. And then I have the arms room video here. And then, of course, the video that always makes me cry of Richard growing up. So that's Richard right there in the glasses. And he really didn't need them. That's why you don't see him on here. Yeah, that's a little bit of a story, but and of course, this is just our family as he's growing up, and it was just beautiful. I miss him very, very much, and I hope everyone takes a little time out to watch this video that our daughter, Richard's sister, right there, made for him, and yeah. It's just beautiful, and it has our dear friends in it, and um, Richard should be married by now, I would think. He's so beautiful, right? He was bound to find some beautiful woman, and probably have his first child now. It's his life was stolen from him, and from very, very evil people that run this same pipeline that's connected to Jeffrey Epstein. And I don't have to say more, right? Because everyone knows how evil it is. And he absolutely exposed how they were tampering with the election through the Walmart mass shooting orchestration and staged. Okay, we have it confirmed that the Walmart mass shooting crime scene was staged. And um, and of course, I've put out all the pictures I've done, and I will keep doing it. I will keep doing it. Um, I wanted to talk about uh, the bolt open right on the rifle. Please send me information about that, um, because we know that the Walmart mass shooting was absolutely um, to tamper with the election. And if they're wanting to tamper with the election against President Trump, and then you have huge veteran areas, surrounding military bases where civilians get jobs and also benefit from all the money pouring in, and they're not voting GOP, something's up. something's up. I'm just telling you. Not that they have to vote GOP. I'm just saying, um, that's not normal. And that shows you that, if you want to pick sleep, if you're military and you want to pick Sleepy Joe and the way he was running things, um, and send you off to these crazy wars because he's too sleepy to read about things, and who knows where the heck you're going to be deployed, um, rather than President Trump, where he takes things uh, in a different perspective, right? So you're more likely to live through his administration if you're military deployed than the Biden administration. I don't know. I'm just, that's just my opinion. I'm just thinking I'm suspicious. I think that, I have to say these things, um, that you have a better chance of living, if you're not sent to crazy conflicts, right? All over the world. Um, so yeah, that's and crazy conflicts could be right here in our homeland now because they have uh, breached the border and let so many criminals in, and yeah. So I think that is plain for everyone to know and see. So yeah, it is right now. It's a good time to wear the MAGA hat, and I hope everybody um, really wants the best for America, wants the best. So I will let you go. Thank you so much. God bless you, and I hope you watch the videos and please share, share, share. God bless you. And tomorrow it will be about these FBI agents that were assigned to the Walmart mass shooting. It's so bad, y'all. It's so bad. So, military. Candace Owens said the military is responsible. The military is responsible. She doesn't know which military. Um, just as a disclaimer, um, I think she's right. I think she's right. So, I it's right in our son's case, and I think she's right about Charlie Kirk. And it's the same people. It's the same people. So, thank you so much, everyone. God bless you, and I will be back. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Anicia. Thank you, Danielle, for your prayers and your love and your comments. And I will be back tomorrow. Please share. Bye bye.